Welcome to 50 Bad Things, a series where I take 50 things from a movie, a game, or TV series and take a massive shit on it. This list will be mostly objective, mostly sarcastic, and incredibly misleading.
Coyotes.
A group of 4 friends travel the world, stay at undisclosed locations, cause general mayhem, and create pandemonium by justifying the ramblings of insane people. Honestly, I want to love it at its core, but viewers do know this is a scam, right? In literally the first episode, they run in front of a car in order to simulate what it would look like if a giant bipedal ape creature was just at the edge of your headlights. Now they determine that this is conclusive evidence when it's literally just clearly a man like in a coat or hunting gear. I mean, honestly, if they accidentally hit Bobo recreating this footage, maybe it would have deterred them from ever continuing this series. Like, somewhere out there's a better timeline, you know? I really want to believe that these 4 are self-aware of the stupidity, but they just consistently play this shit so seriously.
Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You know how every paranormal and mythical cryptid hunting team has that one scientist / skeptic character? Yeah, this show would have you believe that it's this girl who literally just buys into their bullshit every single episode.
But I find it strange that he rules out a human because he believes in the Second Amendment.
What was supposed to be the original finger was tested by the Royal College of Surgeons, and it came back as human.
We have similar beliefs.
We're always an answer, and yet they can't provide real evidence.
So she completely fails at the one thing she's supposed to do every time. What the fuck is that supposed to be? Bro, it's just a carving. I love how sometimes there's these great landscape shots from drones or helicopters, and they just follow it up with these really shitty talking head, poorly made documentary shots. Just pick a side, damn it. I like how they say shit like, oh, it covered that distance in 3 steps, whoa, whoa, whoa. And in reality, most any of us could do this movement, without really that much encumbrance. And, the average person is breaking 5.5 foot on a good day. Bigfoot isn't real, and y'all just need to accept it.
Shut the fuck up. Right in, Shut the fuck up.
Watching this series is a great way of seeing the gradual breakdown of the human psyche's inability to distinguish lies from fiction when you're constantly faced with the former. Do you ever find it weird how a bunch of these sightings take place late at night or are super obscured, almost like people's eyes are playing tricks on them? The animation in this series is genuinely incredible. Incredibly bad is what I mean. It takes literally nothing other than someone's word to convince these 4 of Bigfoot evidence. They are the most easily swayed people outside of this series' audience.
The Sasquatch, I know it, I saw it.
Rob is sure about what he saw that day, and I know Rob, so I'm sure he's telling the truth.
From what I can tell, it doesn't look like a person. I think if it had been a person, I think you'd see a difference in the amount of reflectivity or darkness between the top and...
You're an inspired scientist, but you're a terrible liar.
The banter between these 4 is some Oscar-level shit. No, seriously, it's so shitty that it deserves a shitty Oscar. Why exactly do they trust footage that's 240p resolution dashcam footage? Do you realize how many artifacts are in this footage that can easily make up for something that is just not there? But fuck it. To build off of that, in the first episode, they literally compare 2 shots side by side. One of them is just really shitty dashcam footage, and the other is this high fidelity HD footage that they shot themselves. They then look they look the fucking same, but the absolutely insane lengths that they go to in order to convince themselves that one is a Sasquatch is mind-blowing. These 4 idiots walk around hunting grounds in the middle of the night armed with nothing more than night vision cameras and lights, which is utterly moronic. I like it when they say things like, oh, we need to get to higher ground so that sound travels more, as they're standing in a densely shrubbed up forest and the highest they go is 10 feet up a hill. The Bigfoot calls are fucking hysterical. One of them literally just screams and the others go, oh yeah. Good call, man. That sounds just like Bigfoot. No, it sounds like somebody's screaming like a fucking idiot. They also believe that that things knocking on trees or rocks is a sign of Bigfoot's responding to them in a forest surrounded by wildlife and gravity and nature. You know, on that note, who exactly determined that knocking is how Bigfoots communicate? Like, what? Because in the middle of writing this entry, Matt Moneymaker mentions that he's the one who discovered that they knock on things to communicate, and that he can't believe it's not catching on. I'm dying. Oh yeah, Matt Moneymaker's name is Matt Moneymaker, and people still don't believe this show is a complete scam. They think that any object in a forest getting thrown is a Sasquatch, because we all know nothing else can possibly perform such a feat. How do they know that Bigfoot is nocturnal? I mean, most apes aren't really nocturnal. Like, some of them are up late, I guess, depending on like the hemisphere. So why are Bigfoots the exception? Like, what is it, because of us? And if that's the case, like, how do you know? The poor townspeople in these episodes will never live down these town hall meetings. I mean, they know who they are. Why do people take pictures of footprints and expect other people to believe that as conclusive? Like, you do realize exactly how easy that is, right? Even back before the invention of the internet, it would have been so easy to fake. Cliff is a fucking idiot.
So I'm sure he's telling the truth, but I still want to show Bobo this spot, just to show him how unlikely it would be.
Sometimes driving late at night out here in the Colorado Rocky Mountains, I occasionally imagine how it would feel to see something like a Bigfoot, and then my eyes play tricks on me, and I think I do. I kind of just wish these people would admit that. These people genuinely believe that 12-foot tall bipedal ape men exist, based on nothing more than hearsay.
Then there was some physical evidence showing that they existed and that they were flesh and blood creatures. To see something that we've been seeing since we were children is in books and in movies is a powerful thing for us.
No, what? You believe her? I know people in my life who act like these people do, and I fucking hate it. They believe a photo of a footprint is genuine because the toes are clearly visible and there's no instep. Despite the fact that none of us would know that if a Bigfoot has an instep, because, you know, if they do exist, we've never actually seen the body of one, which is a whole conversation by itself, don't mind me. But, you know, they most likely don't exist, so how would we know they don't have an instep? I mean, I guess since they're a fantasy, they can have an instep if you want them to, or they cannot. Why is there always like 1 or 2 footprints and not like a consistent row of them, especially when it's muddy? You know, like how it would fucking walk? Bobo is a fucking idiot.
Put in a photo, they want you to see the same thing, and you're looking at it going, it looks like a blob or it's just a dark spot. He's not one of those guys. He's just a hunter that has an interesting figure in the photo.
A man in episode 1 talks about how like a Bigfoot knocked over a tree that was as thick around as a car tire. That tree is absolutely nowhere to be found. Not the stump, not the tree, not the damage, nothing. And all the trees around it are like a third of that size. Now, I'm not denying that some bigger trees can exist in smaller forests, but that'd be an impressive difference, and it would be noted by so many organizations if it went missing. Matt Moneymaker occasionally leaves in interviews with people who are clearly lying to convince you that this series isn't a scam, but it absolutely is. To this day, I have no idea if Renee is a man or a woman, mostly because she looks a lot like my brother, which is a very weird thing to say. I love the random ass trivia they include during like the mid-episode transition, because it's always so fucking retarded. These people literally plant a footprint scam in the first episode and then go on to claim that it was the best footprint they'd ever seen. Like, they're just jerking themselves off with this shit and people eat it up. There's 12 seasons of this nonsense. They literally travel across the entire US and later on around the world and just do nothing other than fuck around and get paid. It's honestly kind of genius. This entry's kind of mean, but these people kind of aged really badly. Like, I'm sure they're all great people in real life, but aging like a Robert Mondavi wine is not a compliment. All of these people are active on Twitter, and I highly recommend you read their history and follow them because it is a wild ride. So at one point in episode 1, they used the logic that the average distance between human footsteps is like 2 to 3 feet. So if a Bigfoot has a stride of around like 7 feet, which is kind of what they talk about, you know, in that episode, you know, when they find the footprints that they planted, And so, you know, using the same mathematical logic that they're jumping to would mean that Bigfoot averages like more than 18 feet tall, which is as tall, if not taller, than a bunch of trees around like the, you know, their quote unquote hot spots. But somehow he's evaded widespread sightseeing. I love it when they bring together like new people to help out, and they always look just so enthused, you know? They really just bring up the energy.
And there's something following the deer. That's the story I'm seeing there. That Squatch was there because the deer...
Renee constantly contradicts herself throughout the 12 seasons, and it's absolutely hilarious. So they use the logic that Sasquatches are really good at hiding themselves, they have excellent hearing and sight, and they do not enjoy being filmed or seen. But then the group goes and does stuff like drive a caravan of SUVs through the forest like that wouldn't just be loud as shit. You know, they just straight up plant people to look like Bigfoots when using thermal cameras, or they see something else entirely and claim it's real. One of those is like, again, in episode 1, because this shit starts in the very beginning, where they see a figure while they're going through a national forest, you know, in a caravan of SUVs, who then clearly tries to hide and like stares off after the crew. Like, it's just some random guy. He's probably terrified that he just got caught being out in a national forest well past closing, you dipshits. Renee is a fuck. Renee's Bigfoot call in episode 1 sounds like the siren in the Prometheus trailer music. And I don't know why my brain remembered that particular sound, but fuck you, how about that? There are clearly multiple cameramen that help out with getting some footage. And even if there isn't, there are clearly additional crew members that go out to these locations to get B-roll for before and after shots. And even if that's not true, the 4 main people are clearly getting a lot of footage. So why exactly is it that every time a story takes place in the middle of the night, they apply this fugly ass blue filter to the footage like a bad student art project? Like, just film at night and stop hurting our eyes, you absolute assholes. This series apparently does have a dedicated following and people that actually buy into this horseshit and the tall tales that they're telling. But between Matt's last name being a dead giveaway, constant hypocrisy from the cast, consistent fictions being told by witnesses, no real evidence being captured, and the fact that there are 12 seasons with literally no factual footage ever captured, and yet people don't seem to realize that this is clearly a scam. There are 12 fucking seasons of these 4 just getting paid to travel and talk bullshit with people that are easily swayed and convinced of their own delusions. Like I said, it would almost be impressive if it wasn't so damn sad. Look, if you enjoy this series from a comedic perspective or from a pure entertainment perspective, I don't blame you. I have now seen every single episode from beginning to end, and it is some of the hardest times I have laughed, cringed, and stared open-mouthed at the screen in utter dumbfoundedness at the stupidity of these people and those that surround them. If you enjoy it from the perspective of believing that these 4 people have captured genuine, interesting footage proving the existence of the Sasquatch cryptid, then I have nothing to say that is going to convince you, but I really do hope that you're happy. Even just from a technical perspective, this series is terribly made. The footage is 90% garbage, the animation is laugh out loud levels of terrible, the evidence is circumstantial at its highest and the pure criminal at its very worst. The stories are tragically bad and the pacing is F-tier trash. And the editing is... I could dedicate an entire episode to just the editing alone because holy hell is it bad. If these 4 are happy and retired, hell yeah, you broke the system and I am proud of you. But if you do really believe in the snake oil that you're selling, I am absolutely flabbergasted at this content. Whichever one turns out to be the truth, bravo.